my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I think I should soccer punch your mom in the face. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
What did I do?
Um,
What?
Yeah.
no, I'm just
Alright.
playing around.
Oh, okay. Well, so what's your opinion then? Because, I mean, I haven't heard any pro-choice arguments right now.
Why are you pro-life?
Well, because I'm against murder.
What's murdering about a fetus?
Yeah, well, considering the fact that scientifically speaking, a fetus is a human life, it would be
Not
murder.
really.
Well, yeah, so would you like for me to... Yeah, I can prove this wrong, right? So, if we Google, like, when does human life begin?
Did you say you're killing a puppy fetus?
Oh,
Well, I don't understand. Yeah, I have no idea what you're saying right now. Like, what? Are you just, like, saying random
What
stuff?
point are
Or...
you making? Are you just saying you're innocent?
Do something!
Huh?
You're confused yourself? Like, you don't even...
Not really. There's just nothing really to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk to you right here. So, once again, right, fetus, we know that human life begins at fetus stage fertilization. We know this
Wait,
because...
are we talking about abortion?
Yeah.
No, he's talking about why women should be forced to have children.
Well, I'm talking about why women shouldn't be allowed to murder other kids, right? So, once again,
Well,
then...
they're not kids, and they're
Only
not
when they're
being murdered.
fetuses, but when
Sure, so-
they
And
grown
women
kids
should do
will
what they
stop
want with
giving a
their
shit about
bodies.
them.
Sure, so let me just
Wait,
get this out.
let him speak at least. Like,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So,
Yeah, bro,
as I was
come on,
saying...
dude.
Get it.
Panther, if Ellie talks again, remove him.
okay.
What?
Don't talk again.
Okay, so, as I was saying, for some reason... Okay, so as I was saying, right, for some reason we have, like, people here who don't believe that human life begins at fertilization, but at fetus stage we know it's a
No.
human
We
life.
never
This is,
said that.
well,
We said it's not murder.
well, yeah, but it's not murder because he
Not
doesn't...
only that, regardless if it was murder, there's nothing inherently wrong with doing that. Because
Sure, so-
it's inherently wrong to force someone to do something they don't want to do.
Sure, we can get to both claims here, but it is murder, right? Because we know this because
It's not
yeah,
murder.
I can tell you. Let me
No.
tell you how, right? So,
No.
at fetus stage, we know it's a human life. This is according to the National Institution of Health, the National Library of Medicine, American College of Pediatrics. We have 5,000 pro-choice scientists who agree. 16 of the best
pro-choice
scientific
scientists
institutions
who-
in the world, in Europe, that agree. And then we have
Not biased in any way.
and then we have Harvard, Yale, Oxford that's done a study on this. So like it's generally accepted in the scientific like academia and consensus that human life does factually begin at fertilization/conception. In fact, if you Google it right now, the very first thing that'll pop up when you Google when does human life begin is fertilization. So the fetus is factually a human life. That's like scientifically accurate.
We didn't say it wasn't.
Sure. So it would be murder of a human life then.
There's
It
not
wouldn't be murder, because that's not murder.
Okay. So what do you think murder means?
I remember my life in the womb.
Murder is defined under law.
My eyes were
just be
surely
quiet.
open then.
Right, so, okay, so you said murder is, I wrote this down here, you said murder is defined by law. The reason why I disagree with this is because what if the law said that, like, murder is just, picking a leaf off of a tree? Would that be murder now?
No, there's certain criteria to define
Right.
what murder is.
Right,
And
obviously
that's
we ignore the
hypothetical.
law.
We're talking about
The
we're talking
word
about hypothetical.
murder
We're talking about
wasn't just
it now.
Oh, wait.
So what murder
Somebody
is,
made
it's
the
unlawful
word.
killing of one person by another. So that's what it is. I know a fetus or a zygote is not a person.
Well, okay, so what is a person?
A person is, well, I don't believe a person and a human are interchangeable. I think a person has their own bodily autonomy. I think they have their own thoughts, if possible, if willing. And not only that, I think they can live on their own, or not another person's bodily functions. They can live on their own or with some sort of scientific medical help.
Okay, so a person is somebody who has thoughts, can live on their own, and what else?
Well, I'm saying not just thoughts, but if possible, they could. Not just that, but they can live on their own without another person having to provide their livelihood.
Okay,
in the
so-
sense of
so-
biology.
Sure, so a 1-year-old baby can't live on its own and needs its
That's
mother
not
or
what
its
I said.
father.
I said biology, so as in
So we already
something that
gave birth to
cannot
the
live
baby.
outside of the uterus.
Yeah, a 1-year-old baby
If the
can't
baby's
live on
born,
its
that's a
own.
different conversation.
why are we
A
talking
1-year-old
about,
baby is not the same as a zygote. We're
Yeah.
gonna go
why
back.
are we
Well,
talking about
in
abortion
terms
if we
of
already
in terms
talked
of
about
per,
after birth?
well, this
She
is
said outside of the womb.
yeah. So
To
this
clear
is
that.
yeah. This is called reductio ad absurdum, right? I'm testing the like logical consistency of your argument, right? According to your argument, right? A person giving your definition of a person, a 1-year-old baby wouldn't qualify as a person.
No, because my definition doesn't qualify to be a 1-year-old baby. A 1-year-old baby.
I know, that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Its own system can live on its own. But I'm not talking about 1-year-old baby. I'm talking about a zygote. I'm talking
But-
about something. In the
But it can't though. Like left to its own devices, a 1-year-old baby will die.
No,
we mean
1-year-old
like
baby.
She
We're
means
talking
if you
about
if you leave the
biological.
baby. Yeah, if you leave a baby for like 5 minutes outside, like away from the mother, the baby is still gonna be alive. That's what she means. Like, but you can't.
Yeah, well, yeah, but if you
fetus
leave it-
out and
Sure.
keep it
Fetus is
to-
more parasitic.
Sure.
It's a Charlie
Well,
Kirk.
so there's a couple things here, right? So parasitic relationships or whatever is not what a fetus described as. That's not a single scientist that agrees with this. The reason why is because the parasitic relationships, well, no, the parasitic relationship takes nutrients away from the mother at the expense of the mother, and the organism that does so is not
Exactly.
related to the mother.
When
Well,
the baby or a fetus is being
doesn't
born.
well,
to be
except it's not, right? The reason why we know it's not is because the mother is giving nutrients to the baby like naturally, and it's not at an expense to her. She's not sacrificing anything of none of her
She is
nutrients.
Sacrificing. She is sacrificing a large amount of nutrients.
No, well, no, she's not. She's not. The baby's
to the
not
case
taking.
where-
That's not factually
Yes, it
inaccurate.
is.
Sure. So, well, can you give me a
No,
stat on this?
factually, it's accurate.
Sure. Can you give me the science on this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, go ahead. So while this is happening, right, the issue with the person thing is like, by your logic, since a baby cannot survive on its own for like a week, then it'll die, right? Then it's not a person then. By your definition, you said it has to be able to survive on its own, and the baby
she
can't.
said
Biologically, he can't.
Biologically.
Yeah, biologically he
When you
can't.
come to the
He doesn't have. The baby doesn't have
Alright,
the
so-
like a muscle
so you're
twitch to
saying
do
we
it.
can take a zygote out, just leave it there, and it's gonna grow and it's
This
gonna be
is about-
sustainable human.
Of course not.
Versus exactly. So that's the difference.
No, it's well the difference is that neither of them will survive on their own due to their biological makeup. Right?
No, it's different. It's
Well, no,
different
the
because it relies solely on one person.
No, guys,
Everyone-
well, so does the
No,
baby though. Well, the baby
It's
does as well.
It is different.
It's not
totally
different.
the same, guys.
But what
It
she
is
means
different.
is like the baby gets like its own food. Like you're putting the food into the baby's mouth for.
So the baby's not getting
right?
its own food.
But when you're like eating, and it obviously
This guy's a
what's called
monster.
fetus is like eating some of your food. So
I think you
that's like
looking
what
into
she
the science
means
of it too
in the
much.
difference.
Well, so again, right? By what you just said, the 1-year-old
Also,
baby
the
can't get
fucking
food by
monkey
itself.
in the back
No.
that keeps jumping up and down, screaming and hollering.
This guy loves women.
Thank you.
Yeah. So by your own logic, the baby won't be able to get food for itself, so it's not a person.
No, I mean like it consumes like it's consuming all of the nutrients for itself.
Well, yeah. So can the fetus is doing that too.
No, it's
But it's getting
not.
it from. Can I touch
It's not doing it by itself.
Hold on.
Well, exactly. Neither is the baby. That's the point. They both need the mother
baby
to give them
is.
nutrients. No, the baby's
But one
not.
depends on it more than the other.
Well, no, they both equally depend on nutrients, though.
I'm looking at it so deeply into the science.
Well, no, we have to look at it deeply because we're talking about whether or not one person gets to live or die.
I don't
Wait. I got a
We're talking
question.
about a living being and then one that isn't born yet.
Well,
Wait,
they're
wait,
both
wait.
living beings. We already established this, like by the
Wait,
science.
wait,
The fetus is a living being.
Not really.
Rui, Rui, I need you to
Have
pick a
you-
hero.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever masturbated ever in your life?
Yeah, of course.
You have just murdered millions of
Dude,
kids.
this guy
Like, what the
loves
fuck is your thing?
Yeah,
what
sure,
the
so-
fuck?
Yeah, sure. So
He loves
can I
women
address
and
this?
masturbates.
I can address this, right? So
Sperm
so
cells are alive.
okay, wait.
For nutrients and
Or
oxygen.
can I address this or?
What are you gonna address? You're gonna address that you killed millions of future kids,
Yeah,
but you
I'm
don't
gonna.
want to kill one. So what if it's your
That's
daughter and she
true.
gets
I'm
raped
trying to-
or something happens to her?
Okay,
Like,
you-
you're gonna make your daughter. You're gonna make your daughter have a rape baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the daughter question, obviously, and then we have the
What are we gonna
jizzing
do?
question.
What are we gonna...
Well, you have to let me respond. I'm just waiting for you to be done.
Please.
Okay, so
You can't
so
let
I'm
one
gonna
person
address.
stop you from responding.
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna address both things, right? So the issue with the jizzing thing, obviously pro-choicers like to bring this up. The issue here is that we know, once again, scientifically speaking, that human life begins at fertilization, the moment the sperm fertilizes the egg. The sperm itself, by the way, is not a human life.
Why not?
Well, because we know when human life begins. I just told you that, right? It hasn't fertilized an egg yet. So this is wrong. I haven't killed
But it is
anybody
living.
by jersey.
But it is
By
kinda
jizzing.
living.
So
Hold on, wait.
what's controlling them to move?
Hold on. What? Huh? Well, obviously the ejection is being
Before you
ejaculated.
ask him
What do
any
you
more
mean?
questions, let him finish.
Right. So
They
obviously
swim
so.
to the egg. They don't just fall
Okay.
into it.
Okay, hold on. So the sperm, we already established that the sperm is not alive. It's not a human life because we know when human life begins. Once again, I can bring up. I have 32 different links on this. A human life begins at
How is it not
fertilization,
alive?
the moment the sperm fertilizes an egg. Right. So it's not a human life. Number one. Number
Why is
two.
sperm not alive?
Why is sperm not alive? Because what do you? It hasn't fertilized an egg.
Yeah, but how does it fertilize the egg?
Oh wait, is he trolling?
Well, technically, if you look at multiple different sources, it says sperm is alive.
It's not a human life.
It's not a human life.
It's
It
not
can
a
be
human,
live,
yeah,
but it's
but
not a
it's
human
alive.
life.
It's
So
not
it's
a
not
right,
murder.
but I
It's
don't. Yeah,
not
sure. I
murder.
don't
It's not
value.
So,
Hold on.
wait.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
There's
I
so many
don't.
people fucking talking right now.
And
like,
I have to
bro.
address all of these claims, right? So, and I still haven't gotten to the daughter thing, right? But you want to get hung up on this for some reason. But like I said in the beginning,
Next
it's
person interrupts
it's
him, we'll
not,
just get removed.
it's not a human life. It's not a human life.
Anyways,
Okay.
so
And I-
does a 1-year-old child rely on his mother's circulatory system for nutrients and oxygen the same way a fetus will?
well, obviously not the same way, like
Exactly,
literally,
that's
but
a difference. That's
Debunk
I didn't-
then.
no,
Sure,
literally
so-
they don't.
sure.
No,
So
literally it doesn't.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? Your criteria for personhood was the ability to rely on yourself for nutrients, and a baby, by definition,
But that's
cannot
exactly
do that.
what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
that's
but a
exactly
1-year-old
what I mean it. All right, so I will take back my claim and rephrase it.
Oh, okay,
If
go
a
ahead.
child, or if not even just a child, but if a being has to rely on another person's own bodily system for
Really?
it to sustain its own, such as nutrition and oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't believe that should be considered a person under the current law. But I think we're getting too much of the conversation about fetus and zygotes and
Well,
not really
it's important
the
because
woman
we're
that's
talking
being
about whether or not
affected by
they
this.
should die or not, right?
Well, okay,
We're-
then we're not. It's not our conversation whether they should die or not.
We-
I think
it
the
is.
conversation it's not really the conversation, because if we're talking about pro-choice versus pro-life, we're talking about whether the person who's carrying the child, the woman carrying the child, should have the choice or not. It's not
To
really a
murder
matter
someone,
whether
yeah.
living or not. No, it's not murder.
Well, yeah. So again, I can get through this, right?
Okay, wait.
It's not murder. It's not. We have to get into this. The reason why this is important, going into the details of the zygote and the fetus or not, because we're talking about whether or not these people can live or die in regards to the abortion, right? So the reason this is important, right? So when you say it's not murder, the reason why you don't consider it murder is because it's not a person. And per your definition of person, the 1-year-old baby does have to rely on the bodily system, however you want to call it, of the mother. She has to use her thoughts, her reason, her muscles, her bones to move and get the food for the 1-year-old baby. The baby cannot survive by itself.
So it's not a person.
Okay, so the 1-year-old baby is not a person, so we can stab it.
We're
The
talking
1-year-old
about
baby
no.
is a bird.
If we just assign the difference, I just assigned you difference. If you take into reference anything I said before, then you already know that's not the same thing. What I'm talking
Right, but
about.
under
We're
your
talking
logic,
about-
there is no difference.
You're
No,
fucking
under my
idiot.
logic, there's exactly a difference. If you can't understand, and I think that's just a presentation of what
Sure.
you think about women and anything about
Sure, so we can
fetuses,
get.
even. But no, I just explained to you. What I would consider a person is someone that doesn't have to rely on another person.
A 1-year-old baby does have to do that.
to
Yeah.
sustain itself.
Wait, a
No,
1-year-old
not the
baby
same,
literally
because-
has to do that. She has to rely on the
No, it
mother.
doesn't.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. It has its own circulatory system.
It'll
It can
die
breathe
by
on its
itself.
own. It receives its own nutrition.
It can't get its. No, it can't. It can't get its
You
food.
know what she's talking about.
Just say yes
you
or
know
no.
what the fuck
It's
she's
an avoid.
talking
Just say yes or no. Does a
That's
baby
stupid.
have to rely on its mother's circulatory system?
Of course. Yes.
Directly.
Not directly. Obviously not. No.
Exactly. But you need to directly rely on if you're a fetus or a zygote, no?
Why does that distinction matter?
distinction matters because
'Cause
if your
it's a lie.
personhood, if your
It's a
personhood
lie.
cannot, if
He's
your
cutting you off. I
personhood
can't hear
relies
you.
if your personhood, if the determining factor of personhood is simply just being, then that's not really person because we can just apply it to anything. If the issue surrounding murder is we are just taking away a life, then that would be the question. In some cases, murder is justifiable. In multiple cases, it's justifiable. So what makes this case a lot different than making it not?
Yeah, so I can address this, right? The reason why those cases are justifiable is because those aren't murder cases. What a murder actually is going to be the unjustified taking of an innocent human being that's premeditated.
So what makes it
Hold on, wait, I gotta,
unjustified? So what makes it unjustified?
I have to, you asked me twice, and I have to be able to respond before you, like, cut me off, okay?
Bye.
Okay, so thank you, right? So as I was saying, there's inside of the definition of murder, my definition of murder, right? The unjustified taking of an innocent human being's life. It's premeditated. What makes it unjustified is the fact that the person in question is innocent, has not done anything. The fact that it's premeditated, right? Taking of an innocent human being, that's the fetus, right? So this would be murder, right? The reason why the other definition doesn't work is because when you say unlawful, right, the unlawful part doesn't work because if it was lawful, then for some reason it would be murder. That means that we can murder people, we have carte blanche to murder anybody we want because it's air quotes lawful, right? It's paradoxical. So the lawful definition doesn't make sense. And also this is going to be like a morally baked in term, not like a legal term, right? So like this is why it's going to be murder. And once again, under your definition of personhood, I would just like to establish the distinction. You haven't, in my opinion, you haven't demonstrated why the distinction matters. Both the 1-year-old baby and the zygote and the fetus, all of them rely on the mother. The baby cannot survive on its own. Left to its own devices. Hold on, wait, let me finish. Almost done. The zygote, if we took out the zygote and left it, it'll die. If we took out the fetus and left it, the baby will die. Or the fetus will die.
Not exactly, no.
If we
because there's a reason. Not exactly, no. No, because anyone can really go and provide for a baby. The father can do it. The system can do it. That's
but left to its own devices.
About.
But wait, you just said that it needs somebody else. Left to its own devices, it'll die. Thank you.
Left to its own devices. What I'm talking about is we're talking about this fetus being inside someone else's body.
I don't see why that matters.
You're not gonna get it.
A baby can.
I don't see why it matters.
Wait a minute.
Then you're not gonna understand this argument.
What's your?
Well, you haven't demonstrated why it matters.
Excuse me.
I
the next
explained to you why
call
that.
will
If you don't see value in that, then that might be a reflection of yourself.
So yeah, let's be quiet really quick.
So
Blizzard,
that's justified or unjustified. So let's say, let's say a father rapes his daughter. Should the mother be forced to carry said child, or is it justified then to get an abortion?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, yeah, obviously not rape. Like rape wouldn't be a reason to get an abortion, no.
Rape
Whatever.
wouldn't be a reason.
There's one that
It would not, no.
Is there any reason
He's
to get
fine
an
with
abortion?
rape people.
Hold on, there's like 3 questions being asked at once.
So you're
Wait.
saying she should be
No, I'm
forced
calling
to
you a
carry
moron.
said child.
Yeah, there's 3. I can't hear your question because you're being talked over. Like, I don't.
So are you saying she should be forced to carry said child?
Well, so this is just gonna be like a matter of perspective, right? You see it as me.
No.
Hold on, you gotta let me finish. Let me answer your question before you cut me off, okay? You can't just say no, when I haven't even finished my answer.
It's not a matter of...
It's already gonna be.
Well, I was literally
It's rape.
in the middle of explaining how it is, and then you cut me off. So
That rape.
cool. So
fine.
So as I was saying, right? As I was saying before I was cut off, was just this idea that like this, whether or not I'm forcing like this woman to give birth is just going to be a matter of perspective. Whereas you see it as me forcing a woman to give birth, whereas I see it as preventing a woman from murdering a baby.
But how was that baby made?
The baby was made from rape, but that's still gonna be unjustified murder. Like the baby hasn't done anything. You're punishing the baby for the father's sins. I don't see why you would do this.
Father's sin.
It's not a baby.
the father was
That right there.
It's not a baby.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That right there. That's the whole reason. That right there.
Yeah, so
I don't
you would
give a
be
fucking
you would
hear
be
any more from this
punishing
lunatic.
you would be
Wait,
punishing
are
the
you
baby for what the father did. Of course not.
He
What?
is religious.
You're punishing the woman.
No, I'm not religious. No, I'm not punishing the woman.
The baby
You
shouldn't
are
suffer from the
punishing
father's
her. She
sin.
doesn't want to go through this trial and tribulation.
Yeah, but the baby doesn't want to get murdered.
The woman
The baby
doesn't want
don't
to
know
carry
Yeah,
it.
the
What
baby.
is-
I had a choice of being alive, dude. That sounds so
We all
fucking
did, you
smart.
know.
Yeah, so hold on. There's a bunch of claims here. Okay, so in regards to when I say
I'm
sins,
not
I just mean
debating
it in
it, bro. I've been
okay,
blocking
that's-
you out the whole time. You're fucking
Okay.
stupid, and you're a dog shit person.
Okay.
There's just no other explanation for it.
It's a
Okay.
dog shit debater, in my opinion.
He
Okay.
is.
Well, sure.
He's
So
using lucrative bullshit pseudoscience to fucking
yeah, sure. So let me
explain
just
why women should be
So-
forced to give his fucking rape babies.
yeah. So
Let's
in
say
regards to
that,
the rape
I'll-
babies. Look, oh, you go ahead.
I'll give this conversation 10 more minutes.
Yeah, sure. So there's a bunch of claims here. Like once again, I don't believe that it's like justified to punish the whatever you want to call it, the fetus. That's fine. We already established a fetus is a human being, right? So I don't believe in. Well, again, scientifically, you're wrong. That's fine. And
Well, wait. So you said search it up on Google, right? I searched it up on Google. Google gives 30 different plus answers saying there's technically no genuine start of human form.
No, that's not true.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, that's literally not true. So once again,
Okay,
the
okay,
six.
hasn't
You
that-
literally.
No, you can't.
Also-
You can't use different like.
I'm not
studies,
using-
because
I'm not
those are
using
all-
different-
Those are all.
Yeah,
Yes,
hold
you are.
on.
You literally said you were going to use different studies, right?
Well, no, there's 32 different links on
technically-
this.
Now you're cutting me off. Now you're cutting me
Oh,
off.
my bad. Go
Now
ahead. My
you're-
bad. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, good boy.
Oh,
So now, so I'm saying, right? It says there's no legally there is nothing there. Scientifically, it says there's nothing there. It's all different based on wherever.
Okay,
it's
so-
literally country, and everything. Scientifically, it's all different.
Okay, so what are you reading on
Right.
this? Where's the source on this? What source are you reading?
Google. You said Google.
Yeah, so if I Google it, right? I'm gonna Google it for
I
you.
googled it.
Yeah, so hold
I
on.
Googled
You said
it.
go-
You
wait.
didn't go
I'm gonna
to-
find it. So when does human life begin? So the very first thing, when does human life begin? When human life begins, American College of Pediatrics. The predominance of human biological research confirms that human life begins at conception/fertilization. The very first
when are we
thing on
born?
Google. The very
Well,
first
it
thing.
says
when are we born?
the question of human life begins with a complex one with no
That's the
single
AI
agreed upon
answer.
answer.
That's the AI
Right?
answer.
And then it goes down, and then go down, and then go down. Scientific perspectives, conception, fertilization. Many
Oh,
scientists
right there it is.
They consider it. They don't
Because
say,
that's the
"So we're gonna
scientific
take-"
conclusion. Yes, that's the
No,
scientific
you
conclusion.
can't take-
That's a
No,
consideration.
it's a
A
consideration.
consideration, not
It's not a
conclusion.
unanimous
Consider
agreement.
the consider
not
when
real.
the reason when they say when they use the word consider when they say
One simple question.
when they say the word consider when they say hold on wait
a
let
minute,
me address this.
Wait a minute.
When they say the
full
word
speech.
consideration, when they say the word consideration, all there means it's not like they're considering other options. That's not what this word means in context. All this means is that the
Yes,
scientific
they
consensus.
are. It literally gives me
Huh?
more options, you idiot.
Well, those other
You know,
answers,
Tenor Boy,
those
you
other
really
answers
can't
are
debate.
philosophical
I'm sorry.
answers,
You really
right?
can't-
This is a scientific
You cannot
question.
debate, Tenor Boy.
No, this is the
Tenor,
same
you know,
fucking website. This is the
Tenor
same
Boy,
website.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
you're
the
really
AI
debater,
answer. What do you
and You might
mean?
need to go
No,
find
it
yourself a
isn't.
hobby
This is-
outside this lobby.
this is-
I'm about to get kicked, by the way. I'm
You
about to get
can't
kicked. I'm about to
deal
get
with
kicked.
this,
I'm about to
please.
get kicked. I'm about to get kicked. Yep.